So obviously the largest pressure right now in the city of Mumbai is on the government hospitals. And the government hospitals, it's the team of resident doctors that are feeling the most pressure, especially for hospitals that are not entirely COVID and who also have non-COVID patients. There are entire teams of hospital staff that have been quarantined, putting more pressure on the remaining team. There are questions about the accommodation that's available for these doctors, whether they are having to go home and expose their families. There are questions about non-COVID patients and whether or not they actually get enough beds. And of course, the rising numbers and the lack of beds in the ICUs in Mumbai. I have with me resident doctors right now from all of the big hospitals, from JJ, from Sion, from Nair Hospital and from BJ Hospital. The two of you are from Nair Hospital, right?
Yeah.
Where you have, and you're a gynecologist, so you have, I'm assuming, a lot of COVID positive new moms who have just delivered. What challenges are you facing right now that you believe people outside the hospital don't know or don't realize?
So we're accepting all COVID positive patients that are close to term or about to deliver. It's unimaginable how many patients are going into labor who are COVID positive. So we're having to do cesarean sections. Again, in that you cannot switch on the ACs. In the OT, you cannot use cautery. There's a kind of instrument that you cannot use. The challenges to operate a COVID positive patient are also different, and the exposure is extremely high. Basically, we started with one ward, now we're 2 wards, now we're 3 wards. But the number of doctors, the number of staff, the number of servants, that's not increased in any way. Work in PPE while you're trying to bear down a patient, I mean, it's a kind of challenge that I can't really explain to you. You have to see to believe it. I mean, you lose 1 liter sweat, and I mean, that would just be for one normal delivery. That's supposed to be normal. I mean, if there's something complicated, it gets even worse than that.
Working in PPE, that is the utmost big challenge as we are in a PPE almost for 6 to 8 hours. So being in PPE is like a there is a sweating, and it's a really uncomfortable thing, but we have to face it for our protection.
Actually, there are more number of patients and we are falling short of residents. So day by day, you know, what's happening is there are more and more patients, cases are increasing, there are lesser number of residents, less amount of staff which is there. At the same time, I have worked at Kasturba. So usually what happens is people who go to 7 Hills are given accommodation, but people who work at Kasturba are not given accommodation. So being a localite, when we go home, we tend to keep our families under pressure because of that reason. So that is one of the main issues. And at the same time, there are 5 people staying in one room, 2 people sharing one bed. So social distancing is slightly a problem.
I must ask you this, the story of the bodies lying alongside patients was something that really upset people. And it was about your hospital. I know that I spoke to doctors from the hospital who felt that the portrayal was wrong, and people need to understand the pressure that people are going under right now, or the staff is actually facing in the hospital. Can you tell me what actually happened, or why you believe, if you believe, that the story was portrayed wrongly?
There have been changing protocols regarding the disposal of the bodies. At the same time, there's another issue where we face is the relatives not claiming the bodies. So the video which was shown, that was the half truth. The second half of the truth was the bodies need to be disposed of properly. Now the bodies are directly handed over to the relatives, but in presence of an hospital administration or a healthcare official, and the bodies are directly shifted to the cemetery, taking care that none of the bodies are opened, and this procedure needs to be completed within half an hour. At the same time, we need to understand that the paperwork, the death certificates, the clearance of the files, the informing of the official does take time. And at the same time, the same resident doctor is manning a ward of 35 patients. So it is not just that it's one patient at a time or one patient plus doctor. So in such a situation, a video like this, it creates a lot of furor in general population as well as the doctors. And secondly, with such videos becoming viral in the print media as well as the digital media, it also questions the media's responsibility. Is it that we are encouraging such videos further on?
Have your colleagues been facing discrimination in their houses, in their buildings, in their building societies, people telling them not to come home?
Yeah, that is a problem. That is a problem. In fact, when you're a localite and when you tend to go home, that time there are building people do become anxious. There are times when people around you, sometimes they think 10 times before they come to your place. They feel if you belong to a medical family, it's a very dangerous family. Although we are the people who would land up treating them, but they don't look at us in a good manner. So that's a problem which we usually do face, because me and my brother, both of us are on COVID duties. So that is a problem.
What's the challenge you're facing in JJ right now?
It's quite obvious. Like, we all know the ratio between doctor and patient in India. It's like 1:10,000. And if you're losing manpower in that situation, and if a doctor get exposed or if he's doing COVID D2, he need to be quarantined around 14 days. So basically, we are missing a medical soldier in that. So to fulfill that space or to fulfill his job, we need, another resident has to work for him. So you must understand the medical workers are right now overburdened, that they are seeing COVID patient as well as non-COVID patients. So as he said, that we require manpower. Somehow, somewhere, everyone is trying. I hope it will resolve in future times.
What are you facing in Pune right now?
Actually, all resident doctors, they are very proud to serve this COVID pandemic, but because the manpower is very less and we are overburdened, and because of that our duty are coming very frequently, and also there is a problem of accommodation, food, insomnia, anxiety, then stress and burnout, because those doctors who are posted in non-COVID wards, they have to work without PPs, and there is an anxiety between doctors because they can transmit that infection to their family members.
The residents from private medical colleges, we need them as well. They are not coming in the force, basically. Only government residents are working. So government should ask those private medical colleges in Mumbai. We have D.Y. Patil, MGM. We can ask those doctors to come and help in Pune as well.
Well, the challenges that are being faced by Mumbai hospitals right now is obviously the increasing number of COVID patients. It's putting pressure on public hospitals that would have otherwise taken almost all of the seriously ill patients in Mumbai, because half those wards are now dedicated to COVID. As a result, the residents, the nurses and the staff are facing pressure of being able to deal with the number of cases that are coming to me.